We now recognize Mr. Hern for 5 minutes.
We appreciate you all being here today. Well, I didn't grow up in Mississippi. I grew up in Arkansas in the Ozark Mountains, and I don't have to go talk to constituents about this because I lived and breathed this as a young child and lived on AFDC, which was the prior TANF back in the day. And you still talk to family members who are perplexed when I tell them after I got here and got on Ways and Means about 3.5 years ago, and I was on the subcommittee of work and welfare, and I learned then, and I just verified 134 programs in the federal government spending over $1.1 trillion annually for the social safety nets. Another $770 billion a year spent by state and local governments. So almost $2 trillion annually. And if you're poor in America, you would have a hard time believing that. And as this Mr. Dorchett just said, it's insane to see the amount of money that's going out of the federal government that's never helping a single person. And it's really a sad notion, because this describes, TANF is just one of the many issues we have in this area when you have this much money. And as a member of Congress for the last 5.5 years, what I find here is nobody has the intestinal fortitude on either side to get rid of a program. We just put another one on and it becomes even more inefficient. There are 7 different cabinets that manage these programs in the federal government, and they're not doing a very good job. I think it's time we actually sit down and go through every one of these again to see if we're actually doing a great job or not. There's a saying in business that marketing 50% is bad. If you could figure out what that was, you'd be a lot more efficient. Probably half of this money that goes out is going into places of fraud we're having to deal with when you have state agencies that have all this control and power. There's an old saying that says, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I think, Mr. Underhill, I think that's exactly what you're saying, is you learn how to fish and you learn how to get a job and work. What I find in my family members over the years, that they've gotten very frustrated at the federal government, not because because they've seen a similar lifestyle, and those people have gone on to success in life because they chose the route that you did. And I would argue one that I did. And you learned how to work, you got better, you got educated, life was tough. Many times you thought it was unfair that you took the road of hard knocks, but you're thankful for that now because maybe siblings or cousins or uncles or aunts that you left behind, they're very frustrated. They're jealous of you because the government didn't make them what you worked your tail off to get to. That's the American opportunity that we need to continue to protect. And we've got to help people get off, up, have a hand up and not continuous handouts. And the education part, as my colleague, Mr. Smucker, said, is really important. When I first moved to Oklahoma, I had the opportunity to chair a 7-county workforce WEOA board, and where all the agencies and all the different groups came together on education, how to get people, a job so they could get a better job, so they could get a career. This is what this place is supposed to be about, is helping those who need help. And we're not doing a really good job of it. This and other committees have the jurisdiction of that. We need to pause for a minute because we're not doing right by the American people. And some say, how much are we helping? Well, since our war on poverty, since 1965, $30 trillion has been sent out to the American people, out to the states. And we've been woefully ineffective in making that work. We still have places like in Arkansas, Mississippi, and Oklahoma that really need a lot of help. Missouri need a lot of help. And we need to stop and pause. And if we really care about the American people, it's not about the money. We've got the money. It's just we're not being effective in these programs. So, I would love for you to, one more time, for the record, tell your story about what it meant for you to get a check and to grow that check and to get that first job, the A job, to get a better job, to work on a career. I think it's a story that every American needs to hear that thinks there's no hope in America.
The Skill Up program that I went through when I went to school, had they not give me the $15 a day, as long as I attended school that day, I got $15 a day to help for gas for a 60-mile round trip every day. That took a burden off my wife. And I understand having to have transportation back and forth to work and programs to provide that. And everybody wants to talk about the kids. Well, the kids are victims of their parents, we're all in charge and responsible for our own choices. If those programs are available and I have to take a drug test to be available for that program, if I want my kids a better life, stop doing drugs. Get up and go to work every day. I mean, the programs are there. Yeah, they're probably difficult, and some of them are difficult to get signed up for and get what you need, but they're there, and you're responsible for yourself and your family. Get up and do what you need to do.
I want to say thank you. We ran out of time here, but I appreciate so much all of you all being here to put a spotlight on this issue. Again, it's one of the many parts that we need to get after. And I think it's a bipartisan approach to make this work, and we've got to get together and really help the American people. Thank you all.